Welcome to the Not Superheroes Against Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. Hope you guys are having an amazing, blessed day. I took a little break, a little bit to recharge, to reset, and just because God is shifting some things in my life, so just really locking in, trying to make sure I'm in line with the things I need to do. But before we start, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. You guys know I appreciate the support. Now, with that being said, I have my boy Jawan. Man, he's a brother from another mother, so I always always appreciate our tough conversations sometimes because y'all he gets on me as well. But that's what how it should be, right? When you really trust someone, be to have those tough conversations. Now, with that being said, as well, happy I guess it would be happy late Father's Day to you guys. But it made me think of some things for us as men, as fathers, and I guess it would be the word grief. So with grief, right, we usually think about losing someone, but what if grief is also means like mourning a season in your life, right? A dream or a version of yourself. So today, I wanted us to really talk about that and be able to really, have tough conversations. And as I say, I'm glad to have Jawan here because me and him always have tough conversations with one another. So what you say, bro? Oh, you said, oh, yeah, yeah. But what is something, bro? What is something you think you've lost or had to let go? Honestly, since being, I was gonna say since being a father, but being married and being a father, like, what was some things you had to kind of let go? Or matter of fact, just the season you're in now. That's a
Mm,
better question.
no, cool. Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me on. Jawan, go by Jay Wando. I have noticed that I've been seeing like a little bit of an uptick in my own space, and that's because I've been grieving. I've been grieving the person that I have to leave behind to become the person I want to be. So I'll say that again. I'm grieving the person I left behind to become the person I want to be.
Mm.
Just simple as that. That's difficult. That is very difficult to look at how everyone knows you, how everyone knew you, who you care about, who some people you probably don't care about, but you just have or had a relationship with them. And now you're basically telling people this is how I want to be viewed. This is how I want to be seen. This is how I want to be talked about. And if you can't do that, if you can't manage me correctly, then I can no longer have you in my space. Family, friends, people you've met along the way that you may not consider either of those. I can say that I am starting to purge. I think that's a word we can use, and really decipher between who's for me, not necessarily who's against me, but those I just don't care to have around. So I'm just opening space in my heart
Mm.
and allowing God to work through me to have Him show up more.
Yeah.
I don't think I did a bad job before, but then I would go home or turn the camera off or leave a place or leave a room and feel like, that wasn't me. That I could have changed that. I could have said that differently. The joke wasn't that funny. I probably could have told this person what I needed to say, exactly how I needed to say it, but I chose not to. And so when it comes to grief, we also live with regret. Uh, you mentioned loss of a parent. I hate to say it, like in the midst of having family members that I'm very close to are approaching stages in their lives where they may not be here much longer.
Yeah.
And so I'm like mentally and spiritually preparing myself
Mm.
to go into this mode of protection, the mode of, all right, well, you may not be here anymore. So how do I fill that void?
Mm.
And I say for me, I do a pretty decent job taking care of my mental space, and my kids do a wonderful job with that. I don't think Now, some people aren't, I don't feel like, and I'll just say it, aren't equipped to be fathers. And that can be a list of things and reasons why. I won't get into too much context, but what I'll say is I say that because they aren't prepared to let things go in their lives to become a good father. It's not that you just won't be one or you don't have the means to do so. You're just still trapped into that person. So
Mhm.
that's where I can stand on that and say, yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, there's a lot of things I can detach from, but to be a good father, you likely have to ruffle some feathers. A lot of tough conversations you either have, and shout out to those who are now speaking up on things. And there have been people before, rap artists, musicians, people that we know. But really, shout out to those who are like, look, I have this problem. I had this problem. I had these issues with myself. I'm messed up. I need help. I'm gonna get help. I've gotten help. So I'll not pass that back to you. So
Yeah.
I can not not get too overwhelmed with emotions because that's a very emotional question. It makes me
Yeah.
think a lot.
No, honestly, that one of the first things that I was thinking about is like just as a man, as a father, as a husband, all the different things that we take on, right? And again, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, we have to let go. And so sometimes it's easy for some of us to be like, man, you know what? I don't regret becoming a father. Like, for example, I don't regret being a father at all. I love it, right? But sometimes do I miss who I was before I had a whole family depend on me? Yes, I do sometimes miss that just because it was a different type of responsibility, right? I had my friends and stuff like that. Of course, I was looking out for constantly. And sometimes it did feel like they was my kids, some of them. But for
Hey,
the
nah,
most part,
yeah,
it was just me, right? So I didn't have that same responsibility. So yes, I'm conscious of, I'm not listening to the same music I used to listen to, right? And it's like, damn, I really want to listen to this. Like, this is one of my favorite songs. But as a parent, you start listening, like, hold on, this this is the best type of music, right? Or certain shows or certain people that I would hang out with, and being okay with that and understand too that, and it goes the other way too, right? I have friends that to this day I still have love for them, but they're so locked in with their family that honestly, it's hard to connect with them. And maybe that's by design. Maybe it's just because they're super busy. I have no clue. But I have to respect that, right? If they're in their household is like, there's nobody to talk to besides us. I don't know. I'm just using that example.
yeah,
I have to respect that. So, but that can be difficult because, like, man, okay, we've been friends for this amount of years, or I've known this person, or they came to my birthday party. I know since kindergarten or whatever the case is. And it gets difficult to know, like, dang, maybe God now has changed that season for me, where it's like, I'm no longer able to talk to my homeboy stuff like that. Like I said, I've been giving Jawan his flowers, but I look at him as one of my close friends. I have a small circle already. He's part of that circle, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you ask me this though, we met what 2 years ago, I think he
yeah,
would be part of that circle. I'd be like, no, like we just cool, we vibing, but that's how God designed it. And a lot of the things that we're both accomplishing, both have been through, we can share that and we have real honest conversations, which is rare to have. Or you'll have friends that you think are your friends, but then you realize they actually don't want what's best for me. They don't care
yeah.
what's happening with my family. Oh, go ahead, my
And
bad, bro.
that's no, just speak on that. First of all, the time we have known each other is really like obsolete. Like that's not really what I value about your friendship. I don't really care that we talk. Yeah, we do checking each other. We have long conversations too. Like but the thing is it's the substance. It's
Mm,
not necessarily the time.
yeah,
We can go 2, 3 weeks without saying a word, but it's like the text message, just checking on you. What's up, bro? Like that goes a long way, and it's intentional. That we talked about this before. This is probably what between our both our podcasts, and we probably got a good 6 to 8 episodes in the tuck, so y'all can go back and check them.
yeah.
There I am over somewhere over there, Waldo. But if you have a friendship, even a relationship with your children, your parents, what you say within that time frame is what really matters.
Mm,
If y'all helping each other out, you really giving each other space when they need it, but also giving them your heart and giving them a shoulder. You don't necessarily have to give them money. You don't necessarily have to go see them every day or every week or to know that y'all got tight knit relationship. So I think that's so cool that two guys from opposite ends, opposite coasts, to be in Central America, basically.
Yeah.
Excuse me, excuse me, but to meet in this area, somewhere you were already planted. Your flag was planted here already, and
Yeah.
then here I come. Bum rushing in your life. You know what I mean? And it's great for me too. So I'm just want to add that in, bro. Like you're I don't know what you are outside of the that conversation, but it don't matter. Like you're a good person to me, and I think that holds a lot of weight.
No, I appreciate that, bro. I, I,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too, like for you, because there has for sure for me, but has there been people who stopped showing up for you once you became, I guess, family focused, right? And like, how do you handle that? Because I feel like as men, we don't talk about it. How do we handle that when the
Mhm.
dynamic, strictly friendship, or I mean relationships too, but I'm just talking about strictly friendships, or people you look as a brother or a cousin, or whatever. Like, how do, maybe not even necessarily you, but how do us as men
I
handle
speak about me. I mean I seen it. I seen it go left. I seen where it may not come out in words, but I know even just saying like I know you got a family, so you don't have to. That don't have to be the caveat every
that? Yeah.
time. Or when I only had one child, and then my wife was pregnant with my second daughter, it was like you about to be doing this and this, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna exist as a person. I'm still an individual, and as we gotten deeper into our marriage, we're working on going on 9 years married in a couple of weeks from now. As we got deeper into that, I started becoming part of her family too.
Mm,
So I really didn't have the space for other people. And now we have three children. So I really don't have it. Now I do still give time
yeah.
and effort to people. It's just coming from a different place. I have to
Mm,
think logically. I have to think that okay, I always got to consider them and whatever this is. I love to try to meet up with people. You can ask anybody that's met me since I was 20 years old. Like, I'm willing to get on the road. I'm willing to, and I think I did a post about this. Like, I was willing to fly and stop what I was doing to make sure you were good, to make sure you had somebody to kick it with. That has to stop. I have to stop prioritizing other things, other people because of how I feel about my family. Now, just because you got a family, don't mean that you're just gonna just cut people off and cut things off.
true.
So men out there, you gotta understand, or you should understand your position first of all, first and foremost. Whoever you are, whatever your role is in your relationship, you're who you are, but it's so much bigger than you like being a friend. Like that's just like surface level, and it
Yeah.
doesn't really, whatever length of time y'all been friends, that's cool. But when that marriage happens and the child happens, they should come first. That's where I stand with that. So that's why I say I only speak for myself because I don't want to
Yeah.
give anybody the impression like, oh, you saying I can't have. I don't know what you can have.
Yeah.
That's up to the dynamics of your family.
Mm. No, that's real, bro. Like you said, like obviously everyone's relationship is different, but like you said, in this season, you only have, not that you're cutting people off, but you only have so much capacity. You got to make sure your family's good first before you can take care of the next person or look out for the next person. And like I'm thinking about the season I'm in as well, as far as my kids growing up. Everyone's kids is growing up, of course, but growing up fast. Like, right, my daughter is going to be 21 this year, right, which is crazy. Seeing the different things she's dealing with and going through, and not being able to rescue her from things, having to let her figure certain things out, have to let my oldest sometimes struggle in certain areas when I want to rescue her is difficult, because for so long, even when she didn't know, I'm behind the scenes trying to take care of certain things for her. So it's definitely odd for me, because it's like she's not a little kid anymore, right? but she's still like she's not old enough to be to do everything, but she's old enough to still like for she's old enough for me to let her make her mistakes, but at the same time she's still young enough where I gotta kind of make sure she don't go too far left or too far right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been difficult. Then even my son who's 11, and then my two youngest ones, they still need me too, of course. But like my daughter, she about to be in fourth grade, and she jokes all the time like, "Dad, I want to get older," because she knows as she gets older, right? It's like more hands off with certain things, and I'm slowly trying to prepare myself for that because I'm already dealing with that with my oldest. And it gets tricky when it's different milestones, right? Elementary, but now my oldest son's going to middle school. I said my oldest daughter's is going to be 21, so like, it gets difficult, bro, at times for me. But I wanted to ask you, bro, too. Like, is there maybe a a moment for you where you're like, obviously you have your son who definitely still needs you, both of you, you and your
Yeah.
wife, but like with your oldest, for example, like, do you sometimes just be tripping out like, dang, like she's already, I think she's 14 or something like that, but
14, yeah.
like, dang, like she's already 14, she's about to get ready for high school and all that. Like, where's your mindset with that, bro? Because we can grieve in this because we hear it a lot for women, we hear it a lot for moms, right? Like, oh my gosh, like my son, they cry, and we're not necessarily
Yeah,
crying
there's a
about it.
term for that. Some I can't remember what it's called.
What is it, bro?
No, so that's a term for that. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there's a term out there.
Oh,
I know
okay.
it's like you got leaving the nest and all that, but this is a term where that transition happens for women, especially.
Yes.
Look it up.
Yeah. So like I was talking to my boy Jason. Shout out to Jason
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But
Shout out Jason,
his
bro.
his daughter, she's in high school. My bad, Jason. I think she's eighth grade or ninth grade. But anyways, she went on like a one of those church camps, whatever, where you're gone for the week and stuff like that, right? And he told me, he's like, bro, I teared up, right?
Yeah.
Because that was the first time she wasn't gonna be at home. She was gone like the whole time, right? And but normally as men, we don't say those things. We don't be honest with those things. Like, maybe not cry, but we feel it. Like, dang, like our kids don't necessarily need it, or they're growing up. So
It's okay to cry about that.
it is
Yeah,
100%. But I'm just
yeah,
saying it's one of those things where
yeah,
we don't say it, or we don't. What we just, oh yeah, no, I'd be all right, right? But deep down inside, we like, dang, like, oh
yeah.
my gosh. So I wanted to ask you, bro, have you had one of those moments? Because I'll be honest, bro. I've been having a lot of those, especially with my oldest. She doesn't know now. When she sees this or hears this, she'll know. But
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely be getting hit hard with that.
Yeah, and that's I think I know each child, whatever milestone they reach, whether they're graduating, my bad, whether they're graduating, whether they're coming of age in certain spaces. Like, I got a 3-year-old son, I got a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old. So all their like potty training, for instance, the day the potty training happens, or the time they can pick the fork up or the spoon and feed themselves, and they give you that feedback. I think that's what hits me hardest. Like, okay, you able to give me feedback and say, yeah, look at what I did. Look who I am. As fathers, obviously we are all children to someone.
Yeah,
We're all a nephew, a niece. Somebody's got our memories in their back pocket or the back of their mind of how or whoever we used to be. And I almost I don't like to use the word grief so much, but like I'm pretty sure they go through that too. When they see us doing things out in the world, knowing people know us, they're like, wow, like look at my child, look at my son, and we get that same thing. However, we have the opportunity to really show it in a better way. It's
yeah,
recorded. I mean, a lot of pictures. It's broadcasted a little better. I mean, unless you grew up in one of those households where your family did have Polaroids and all this material, where they were able to keep photo albums and things like that. We did for a while, but I think, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I just proud moments. Seeing my
yeah,
daughter in track, seeing my middle daughter in cheer, seeing her up on stage. And I asked her the other day, like, when you up on stage, or what's your like? Do you see any of us? She was like, no. I just look out in the crowd and perform, and I can tell like to have that type of concentration without me actually having to say, oh, you make sure you lock in. I don't have to give her those pep talks. She has other people. She has coaches that we pay good money to to ensure that she's going to be locked in.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen her really make a mistake like on her end. So that means we're putting her where she needs to go.
Yeah.
For I mean, for my son, just learning how to like when he's running differently now. I was a bit worried initially. I was like, "Hey, you little knock knee, little bow legged. Come on, man, get it together." So I think we even talking about those grief or those moments where you like, all right, I got to get past this because, like you said earlier, they're gonna grow up. As much as you go through hours of the day, their bodies are developing, and they're growing in ways you're never gonna see. When they sleep at night, God, God is molding them to who they need to be. Well, and they will probably be healthier than you. They'll probably be more inquisitive than you are. I know people talk about how smart their kids are. You're smart aleck, and start throwing all these, hurling all these insults almost at them. It's like I want my kid to be smart.
Yeah.
What? Like I want you to be to leave the house at 17. If you prepare for it, go live your life. I'm not holding you back.
Yeah.
And I would grieve if that was the case. If I was, I think that's what I'll say most. If I was one of those parents who just chose my life over them or over theirs for the majority of it, yeah, I would feel, oh man, I didn't do enough. I wasn't there enough. And I know that's a real feeling for a lot of people. And I hope that whoever's listening to this, if that is you, that you just find a way to switch the gears.
Mm.
Sean created this platform for us to go back and look. I mean, it's hundreds of episodes, hundreds of men. If you have you had any women on here? I guess it's a dad podcast. I don't think, yeah. So hundreds of men who have different perspectives on what fatherhood is to them,
Yeah.
or what that life is from their view. And I think it's incredible to see it grow and blossom and reach all these people because a lot of us we never seen it
Yeah.
or not in that way.
Yeah.
So I love
No,
that answer, man. I know I got a little
well,
detailed.
no, you made me think too, because
Yeah.
you mentioned parents. So not even necessarily our parents overall, but parents in
Mm,
general, especially in our generation, I guess a lot of parents have, or a lot of us have those type of parents where, like you said, like maybe they was locked in whatever they were trying to do. And so they have grieve. They're grieving over it because they're like, damn, I missed out on my
right.
son. I missed out
Yeah.
on my daughter, right? They grew up so fast and I didn't really cherish it, right? And now is one of those things where they're trying to tell you what to do, and it's like, well, one, we don't have that type of relationship,
Did y'all
right?
do this in school? Did y'all used to do this?
Like one, we don't have that type of relationship. Two, it's too late. Like I'm grown now, right? And so it's like you missed that window of opportunity. So that could be heartbreaking because like, dang, they're not viewing me like the son or I mean, they're not viewing me as the mom or the dad as they should, right? And so I think that's a real thing too, bro. That we don't talk about enough. And I'm sure many of us as men also, we might be dealing with that, but it's not too late if you're in that space, right? To correct that now. But I just think about that of how many of our parents are operating in that space. So when they're lashing out on us, it's more so because of something they're lacking, because something they didn't do. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna offend some people right now, but because of what they're lacking, because they
What is
didn't
it
do,
for?
so they're upset or whatever the case is. So yeah, man, that just made me think of that right now, though, when you said that.
We talked in length in detail about our parents. One thing I do notice is the distance we have between our parents. Like I said, you're on one side of the coast, I'm on the other, and they have the opportunities to visit us. And at least for me, the financial and the ability isn't there. But I try to, give little pointers here and there, like, hey, like call instead of texting. Because I want my kids to have a better connection with my mother than I currently have and had growing up.
Mm.
But there's really no way to do that from so far away. So what are these things that you can do? Even if I ask you, like, what are things that you are going to do once your 21-year old, whenever she leaves the house, what are things can you do to keep that connection there? Because, just like you'll always be her parent, she'll always be your child. She won't be a child as far as like a kid, but she's always going to be your child. So you have to really like talk about friendship, being intentional about keeping up. Like what are things that you may think about or haven't yet to think about when it comes to that?
Are you, oh, so you're
Yeah,
asking me?
I'm throwing that,
Oh, okay. So
pushing that
yeah,
to
yeah.
you.
So for me, it's just is let her again, let her make her choices, her mistakes, her wins, because it's not gonna always be losses, even though there's lesson in every loss. But to just be there, support her, and just let her know, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna support you. Right now, I already know, not just with her, with all of my kids. I already know I'm not gonna agree with everything they do. There's gonna be things I'm like, why the heck are they doing that? But I still have to show up to love them, right? And let them figure it out. So for her, when she does move out, when she's in her own place, if she's making certain decisions, I'm like, okay, that's I don't agree with that, but I still love her. But I'm also going to operate because I saw my grandparents operate like this, where they would take on that stress.
Hmm.
They would take on not only are they start questioning themselves as what they did correctly as parents, but then they're trying to fix their mistakes and they're trying to take on everything that their child was doing, right? And so seeing that, I was like, I don't want to operate like that. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna be there. Doesn't mean sometimes when you're in a jam, I'm gonna do my best to help you out. But I'm not going to be the person that you call every single time, right? I was like, man, okay, I just gave you $200. Now you're asking me again 3 days later for another 100, for another, right? So it's not going. I'm not going to be a bank, right? And that's just me. Now some parents, they're like, hey, no matter what my kid asks for, I'm gonna give it to
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. That's for you and your family. That works for you. But for mine, I'm very big on having them be independent, having them figure certain things out. Already for my kids, for example, it's the summertime, so they have literally a checklist they have to go through. So they have to do their worksheets. They have to read. They have to write different facts on different things I have them watching. It could be on animals. Could be on Black history. It could be on Hispanic culture. It could be whatever the case is that I'm having them figure out. And then I have my son. A lot of times he's in charge of that, right? He's in charge of that. But when it's not on him, then it goes down to my daughter, my youngest daughter. So I'm already like instilling independence in certain things and certain responsibilities on them at a young age. And maybe some people might be like, oh, that's too much, but that's how I'm operating because I want to prepare them for the real world. So I say all that because I want to do that for my oldest, or I guess I'm praying and believing that we've already equipped her with certain things. Now, there's certain things she might not know. And then it's up to us to pass that information, but not do it for us, right? So she has her license, y'all. I'm not saying she doesn't, but let's say she didn't have her license, right? And I tell her, hey, go take the test, go take the test. And I've told her I give her all the information that she needs so she can take the test. But if she doesn't take the test, I'm not going to take that on and be stressing out over it, right? It's like, okay, she didn't want to do that. That's her. Eventually, she'll get tired of Ubering all the time or whatever the case is, right? I'm using that example, y'all. She
Mm.
drives, but just for anything, right? If I give her, hey, you have your own place. Okay, this is what you need to do to have your light bill, right? You have to call the electric company. You got to do this. You got. If she doesn't do it, guess what? She'll be in her apartment or whatever dark, right? She'll be using candles, right? So it's one of those things for me is like equipping them so I don't feel that burden. I don't feel that grieve as far that the grief. Not saying, of course, I'll feel it as far as, oh man, she's not my little girl no more. She doesn't necessarily need me, but I don't want to feel it as far as, dang, I didn't equip her, or dang, I missed out on the person she's becoming, right? I'm now seeing it after the fact. So hopefully that answers your question, bro. But that's my approach on it.
Yeah, that definitely does. And I'll say, when as we wrap up or, approach the end, I think we hit a lot of points. I'll just include when it comes to what you do as a parent, I feel like the objective should always be for your child to live their own life. If just using example, birds just stayed in the nest their whole life, when it is time to fly, when there's a storm or anything like that, and you can take that as spiritual or metaphorical. When these things happen and you got to pick up and go, it's a lot easier for both of you if you're already gone or you already know how to make these moves on your own versus you've been in a house, you've been in a nest for so long, or you barely left, you've never left. Now it's time for us to pick up and move. I got to carry your weight even longer, which makes me deteriorate, which makes me irritable, and I start feeling regret. I start being upset that I allowed you to stay here and not grow, not develop as a person, as a man, as a woman. When it comes to relationships, soon as the boyfriend or girlfriend bothers you, daddy, I got a mommy. We talked about this. If you talked about it, we can get in a whole nother episode about damaged people. I've operated in that space for a long time, the
Mm,
daddy issues, and I carried that into my marriage, to be transparent. And I'm literally just getting myself like away from it.
yeah.
But I still find myself asking certain questions, hitting on certain topics because the family hasn't decided that, you know what, I'm going to allow you to live your life. So
Mm,
I feel like if we can do that now and set that example, it'll be helpful for the world, really.
yeah.
This is about legacy right now. This is about how you want your kid to walk out that door into the world, into someone else's office, into that apartment complex, how you want them dressed, how you want them to present themselves. This is a whole list of things that when your kid walk away from you, whether that's if they're first graders or first year of college, you want to be able to trust that they show up for you.
Yeah.
Whatever, like they talk about the team name and the name on the back of the jersey, like you play for us, like yeah, that's our name. But you playing for us, like so. When you come back home, your grades, your character, all that stuff is a reflection of me. And I say me because I'm the man of the house.
Yeah.
Mommy's gonna influence you in her way, but I'm looking at it like I care more. Not saying that I don't, of course she cares too, but I care more about how you are viewed than anything else.
Mm,
So if I help equip you, if I treat your mom well, you know, that'll be like, okay, yeah, this is how I should be treated. It may not be flowers and candy all the time, and there might be some tough conversations, but I know how to be treated.
yeah.
I know what to look for in a good man
Yeah.
or a good woman. And so those things are, or I see how my mom's been treated by my dad. I'll say that.
Mm,
And so I think that's those things that will help us. Yeah, just be better fathers once we put
yeah.
those things in perspective. And that's just one thing.
No, I love it, bro. I love it. Yeah, man. Like you said, as we getting ready to wrap up, I just wanted to say too. I guess like right where the things that we could be grieving about or have some type of grief with today, right, doesn't mean we're not grateful at the same time, right? So, for example, I mentioned my oldest again, right? Like she's doing her thing, but at the same time, I'm very grateful for her being the woman that she is, that she carries herself a certain way, right? And she's learning certain things as well, operating in a space that I know a lot of young women aren't, unfortunately. So I am thankful. Does she still make mistakes? Of course, we all do. But I just wanted to highlight that because, maybe grief isn't always about letting go. Excuse me, right? Sometimes it's more so about like appreciating, right? Appreciating what was or embracing what is, and just making peace with what that is, right?
Yeah,
And just understand like, okay, it'll never be that again, but being okay with that. So I mean, as fathers, we're allowed to miss a season, right? But we can also be thankful. So just making sure that we're mindful of that is like we can miss the a certain season we was in, but you want to still be thankful for what you're in right now as well. So I just wanted to at least highlight that and encourage, the fathers out there that are dealing with those hurts.
yeah, y'all take care of y'all babies, man. But that starts with you. You dealing with depression, you dealing with anxiety, you dealing with things that the kids don't see, but they see it in other ways. Get yourself some help.
Yeah.
You can sit there and watch a game for 3 hours. You can go to the gym for 30 minutes, or just do something in the crib that, well, either reading, journaling. Since I've been talking with y'all, I've been working on my master's degree, so I'm about to be a real life therapist soon. So if y'all can hear it, these are just things that I'm learning, interventions and things like that. So my talk has to change. I have to apply what I've learned somewhere.
Yeah.
And it starts in the house. Now I'm not gonna do therapy on my kids, but if I notice something that maybe they need therapy with, because I needed therapy and I still need therapy for some things, then that's something I'm gonna apply. And it's gonna cost money. It's gonna be expensive, but it's gonna help my children become well-rounded people. So if I can get my stuff in order, even being a good friend, not just, it's important. Even being a good friend, if I can just do that a little better, do husband, being a good husband, just a little better. That's a reflection on me, and my kids see it, and they they show it. They show up for in that way in the real world, and that's my hope.
Yeah, man. No, I love it, bro. I love it. Yeah, well, by now, if y'all been rocking me, y'all know. So I'm not, every time I know he's been saying stuff, I'm just gonna put his information for y'all to follow him on everything. Cause by now, I feel like if y'all been rocking me, y'all know. I mean, you can still plug it in if you want, bro.
Yeah,
But
I do a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
plug him a little bit just in case. Cause who knows? Maybe this is
yeah.
the
Not
first.
everybody sees it. My views gonna be hitting like that. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm so mundane and boring. I don't know. I think I'm pretty cool though. So if you think I'm cool, life of underscore J Wando on Instagram. Also DADOESPOT underscore pod IG. You can also find me the Dope Spot podcast. I think it's a podcast. New wall art. I had to change my banner. It's looking a little dry, a little boring. I'm kind of upset people didn't tell me that, but it's okay. On YouTube, and I've been saying it for the past 4 years now. I'm about to start posting a little more, and I do post, but it's just like it's so many other things. I not it's not perfection whatsoever. I want to be mindful that I'm talking to the world. So whenever I speak on things and speaking on my behalf, I want it to be what I want it to be. I put out certain things sometimes. You can do like a project or a paper or whatever. You just kind of throwing it out there. This is
Yeah,
my life. This is my life. I don't want to I'll just show up when I feel like it type of thing. No, I want it to matter.
yeah,
And every now and then I'll put something out there that matters. So whenever you do see this, I want it to matter. I put thought, care into it with somebody that I'm comfortable with. And so it's only a matter of time. Y'all just keep checking out, rooting me on, supporting my boy Sean. Like, share, subscribe, like you said, and really, really more so the sharing part. I know subscribers is important to people, but I think the sharing part, and not to for you to agree. This could just be something you share and be like, you know what, that's not really accurate, or that's not something that I would say. Okay, what would you say? Let's talk about it.
true.
And that's where I'm at. So I appreciate that, bro.
No, I love it, bro. Yeah, man. And again, y'all, I'm gonna make sure I put all his information too, just in case you couldn't catch all that. But yeah, y'all. Like always, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you guys on the next one.
Peace.